You've got the whole world in your hands. 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 You've got the fish of the sea in your hand.
My name is Tony. I'm a pharmacist by profession. I work presently with First Oasis Pharmacy in Cairo. I want to talk about the effect of drug and substance abuse, how it affects the human society. But before we go into this topic, let's first establish some facts. What is a drug? As it is widely established in pharmacology regulation, drug is any substance that, when taken into the body, affects the physiological functions of the body. The physiological functions of the body varies depending on the kind of drug you are taking. It will affect the CNS, it will affect any part of the body, anything that can alter the physiological functions of the body. That is what simply means that drug. Generally, how does drug affect brain? Recently, when you go through the theories, there was a case reported in the state recently where it was attributed that a 25 years old boy raped a 75 years old woman. And at the end of this thing, this one guy, it was discovered that the boy was under the influence of alcohol. Similar case happens in Niger State about a few months ago, and all these things were in national theories. So the question now is, how can we prevent this thing from happening? Before we go into all these things, when you look at drugs generally, drugs are classified in various categories, like psychoactive substances generally. Psychoactive substances are drugs that affect the CNS basically. Once you take into this drug, they have a way of influencing the neurotransmitters that is secreted in the brain. Generally, and majority of these drugs we have the opioid generally, from the weak to the strong opioid like heroin, morphine, tramadol, pentazocine, and some other substances in them. It could be benzodiazepines, it could be depressants, it could be barbiturates, it could be a lot of all these psychoactive drugs. And recently, we discovered that there has been an increase in the abuse of majority of these drugs. Why I use the word abuse is because, like majority of these drugs, they are supposed to be prescription-only medicine. What we mean by prescription-only medicine, these are drugs that are strictly to be dispensed to a patient with the consent of the prescriber. What I mean by the consent of the prescriber is before you can accept this medication, your doctor will have diagnosed you for an ailment, then they will have prescribed the drug for you that, okay, take so amount of drug at this so dosage of the drug. If you exceed the dosage, yes, you are going to be susceptible to the side effect of this drug, because all drugs generally have side effects. But oftentimes you discover that, before we go into that, when you look at psychoactive drugs generally, there is one problem with them. They have this addictive potential. And what I mean by addictive potential is, take for example, if you are taking, let's say somebody, a cancer patient for example, that is suffering from some severe pains, there's a tendency that, okay, if your doctor prescribes that, okay, you should take tramadol to relieve your pain, maybe 50 milligram tramadol twice a day, maybe 12 hourly 50 milligram tramadol. As you are, if by taking 50 milligram tramadol, a time will come, the euphoric effect, the pain relieving sensation you are taking from that drug, it will get a time, the 50 milligram will not give you that same effect. So gradually your body system is adjusting to it. Before you know it, for you to get the same effect that 50 milligram tramadol is giving you, you have to increase the dose down to 100 milligram. Gradually, tolerance will set in. But generally, when this thing is taken under supervision, if you are not getting the effect with that drug that the doctor has given you, there is possibility that they might switch to a different class of drug. But what we discovered generally now is people tend to self-medicate the majority of these drugs into themselves. Once they start abusing the drug, they start increasing the dose. The more you consume this drug, the more you increase the dose, the more you become susceptible to the side effects of all these medications. And majority of these drugs generally, there's a part of the brain that is called brain reward center. What the brain reward center does basically is, this is a part of the brain where all these, how can I say, like, I'm looking for the right word to use now. Brain reward center actually stores our playful sensation, like maybe eating, having sexual intercourse. It's a section of the brain where all these sweet sensation things that we are doing, it stores in that particular section of the brain. That is why you discover that if somebody is cooking your favorite food somewhere else, naturally, before you know, you start salivating. There's a neurotransmitter that has reactivated that part of the brain. So how these ones affect drug generally is, once you start consuming this drug, some neurotransmitter, majorly dopamine, once this dopamine is released in their place, before you know it, the whole thing starts activating their place. What people now do generally is, once they get this drug, they start consuming it. As they are consuming the drug, gradually tolerance starts setting. Once tolerance sets in, the effect you are getting from a low dose of that drug, it will go to a time that low dose of the drug will not give you that same effect. Then an abuser will now need to increase the dose of the drug. And why this thing really happens generally here is because of easy access to medication in Nigeria. We have that problem generally. Easy access to medication. Nigeria is the only place in the whole world, as we are currently speaking in the world today, where you can go into an open market, purchase a prescription-only medicine, and nothing will happen. You don't find that in developed nations at all. Something happens some years back. Maybe you must have heard of this codeine abuse, which necessitated the federal government to place a ban on Benylin with codeine. What people normally do, that drug, the codeine content in that cough syrup was just to suppress the cough center in the brain. What that thing does generally is just to use it to treat dry cough. That drug was just meant to treat dry cough. But because of the addictive process, the addictive potential of the codeine content inside it, people now start abusing it. People now start consuming it in excess, more than the required dosage. And the more they start consuming this thing, the more they become susceptible to all the side effects of this thing. And before you know it, they become addicted to it. That is one. Another thing we discovered recently was, in our midst generally, we discovered that the use of alcohol basically, when you listen to our radios, televisions, and what have you, you discover that there is an increased alarming rate of advertisement of aphrodisiacs in Nigeria, which ought not to be so. All manner, and majority, when you look at it, there was one time I used to hear of some like Oshoma, some bitter. I think there is a way they coin the word, they coin it in a way, and when you cross-check some of these things, some of them contain as high as 45% alcohol in some of these alcoholic drinks. So when people now start consuming these things, there's a way it increases their sexual urge. Some of them will be telling that, okay, no, this is only contains some herbal medicament inside it. Forgetting the fact that all these plant things that they are just extracting, they all contain some phytonutrients. There are some phytochemical nutrients that are inside it. It is this thing now that when they consume it that now start pushing them into misbehaving and all these things. How this thing causes a bad rate generally is, when you look at, there has been some established facts about tramadol, especially. Tramadol in some literature is established that it can be used, though that is not original why it was invented. Some people use it to treat premature ejaculation because they say it has the ability to bring about delayed ejaculation. So because of this, a lot of our youth tend to go into consumption of tramadol, taking it without the doctor prescription. That is just the major thing about eating of alcohol. Why alcohol especially? Alcohol also is a depressant. And what I mean by depressant is any drug that you take that has the ability to depress the CNS. Because what the memory, cognition, virtually everything we use consciousness. Once you take anything that can depress your CNS, you might lose consciousness as time goes on. That is just the major problem. In order to establish a nexus between drug abuse and rape, we discovered that most of the people that enjoy the rape, most of these rape victims, it is either the victim has been drug, and the drug that is the major culprit in this one is flunitrazepam, which is popularly marketed as Rufinol. This drug belongs to the class of benzodiazepines. What this drug does basically is, at a very minute dose of it, if you drop it into the drink of a lady, the lady will go into the state of what we call anterograde amnesia. Within the period of, for the next 1 or 2 hours, she won't remember anything she's doing. She'll just be doing that. Even if 5 to 10 people rape her, there's the possibility that she will wake up and she won't be able to remember what has happened to her. More often than not, majority of them only come back to their consciousness when they now see maybe deposition of semen in their pints or around their listing. That is when some of them now remember that some guys have actually slept with them. So because of this thing, some government put some punitive laws into place. Okay, this drug must be strictly controlled. But we discovered that some of these drugs that are under punitive laws in developed nations, here in Nigeria, you can easily access them from the motor park, you can access them from the market, you can access them even from an ordinary chemist shop. Whereas this is the drug that even a pharmacy, for you to access this drug from the pharmacists ought to have demanded from you that, okay, the prescriber's prescription order must be signed. It must be duly signed. You must know the doctor that is prescribing it, the purpose of prescribing it. You must be able to contact the patient. That is one. And two, the dosage, the dose at which the patient is supposed to take the drug. You must know it. But easy access to drug now. Once people have access to something and it's uncontrolled, before you know it, you now start consuming it over and over and over. That is one. And two, how we can mitigate about these things basically is one, this uncontrolled advertisement of alcohol on the media, maybe social media, print media, the electronic media generally has to be strictly regulated. Because you discover that almost every day you see a lot of our youth consuming alcohol. Some of them, even there was one that even came to my premises the other day. I was trying to advise because he was telling me that no, that he's just taking, he said he's taking bitters. And at the end of the day, the bitters you are taking contains about 45% alcohol. And the plant extract, most of these plant extracts used in production of all these bitters, they all contain phytochemical nutrient that contains aphrodisiac property. What I mean by aphrodisiac property is something which we generally refer to as manpower. So once you take this thing, the drug will definitely, it acts in form of these PDE5 inhibitors, also there are 35 inhibitors. They are a class of drugs that people generally refer to as manpower. These drugs are meant for maybe elderly people suffering from some cardiovascular diseases, maybe the drug they are now using, maybe somebody suffering from cardiovascular diseases. Majority of the drugs used in managing these cardiovascular diseases, they have impotence as their side effect. Maybe like the ACEIs, methidopa, and the rest of those drugs. This thing brings about a decrease in their libido. So as a result of this one, we now try to prescribe even the PDE5. We don't just prescribe PDE5 inhibitors, because even somebody that has cardiovascular problems is likely susceptible to cardiac arrest when the person is taking the PDE5 inhibitor. So what normally happens now is these drugs are strictly meant for people that have underlying erectile problem, the erectile function, erectile dysfunction, and all of it. But you discover that most people have access. What I just concluded generally is easy access to drugs is what is causing problems. Because something you don't have cheap access to, there is no way you can abuse it. Like as it is now, we have pentazocine in the open market in Nigeria, phenol in the open market, benzodiazepine, barbiturate. These are things that are even hawk. They hawk it in the water park and all these things. Until we are able to control sales of medication generally in Nigeria, it will be quite difficult to control the rate of abuse of these drugs and how our youth consume these drugs and use it to the rating them is quite challenging. What the government, where the mistake was made was initially in the 60s, when they considered the number of pharmacies we have in Nigeria, when they did the patient pharmacy ratio, they discovered that the number of pharmacies in Nigeria was just too much. We have a very, even till now, I don't think we still have enough. When you look at the medical professionals, a lot in the medical aspect of the number of medical professionals we have in Nigeria, they are very, very small. So what the government did then, that in order for the populace to have easy access to drugs, they now came up with PPMV, which is private proprietary medicine law. That was when they came up with that law. But then what they did about the law then was that they restricted them to some class of drugs, mostly essential medicine that they can sell. They are not supposed to be selling every drug, every class of drugs. But you know now, for just like virtually everything that happens in this part of our world, once a law is made in Nigeria, people bypass it and they abuse it. Why the government came up with that law then was they discovered that maybe take for example a state like Ondo State I don't think they have more than like 10 pharmacies then. Then imagine how would 10 pharmacies serve the entire state. So and in order for people to have easy access to drugs, they came up with PPMV. But over the times, now we discovered that, and this PPMV license, when you look at the license, it only covers basic essential drugs like analgesic and some other drugs. But you discover that these days, somebody that is supposed to sell little quantity of drugs like analgesic and some other things, now started, everything just became a business venture. Let me use the word, that is the best word. Even both prescription only medicine and not prescription only medicine, opioids, all manners, even vaccines. Because I've seen, yes, there was one time I wanted to pursue a vaccine for my mother. A vaccine was prescribed for her in the hospital. They were directing me to go and meet a chemist where I can buy it. On getting to that chemist, this was a vaccine that was supposed to be stored around 25 degrees Celsius. The person kept it on the shelf. Definitely, there's no way that vaccine will work because those are thermolabile substances. So that is the major problem. And over time, the problem with us is when we start deviating from the normal norms, we don't always know when to come back or how to checkmate the excesses. The moment Nigeria started patent medicine vendor association, I can't actually remember. I know PPN, the guy just jumped from on that. That was where we opened the door for even in Nigeria. Because you now discover that somebody who was not there, some of them you even discover that some of them did not even pass to secondary school. Someone who did not pass to secondary school now don't even know the checks and balance, you don't even know what to do and what not to do. So everybody now starts selling things. Recently it came up during that coding litters abuses when it came up. People were like saying, okay, let the government agencies that are responsible for regulation, the the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria, NDLEA, NAFDAC, and what have you. Let them come into operation and restrict these people. Restrict these people to what they are licensed to sell. That is one. Two, and some other professionals too. You know, we discovered that there are some pharmacies in Nigeria too, where profit making, let us be sincere now, profit making as, how can I say now? Profit making, profit making has overshadowed their professional judgment. Okay, like when you walk into a pharmacy premise that you want to access an antibiotics, normally you are not supposed to access an antibiotics without a prescription or anything. We discovered that people sell antibiotics for you now without a prescription order. Some even sell a capsule. I've seen something ridiculous that knowing fully well that you are even endangering the patient's life because the person will develop resistance on the long run to that antibiotics that they are prescribing to. To that antibiotics. To that antibiotics medicament that you are prescribing, that you are giving to him. Because normally, if an antibiotics if a patient is supposed to take a drug like an antibiotic, let's say amoxicillin, for example, maybe you are supposed to take it for like 5 days or 7 days, depending on the kind of ailment you are having. At the end of the day, if you are taking 2 capsules of it, today you take 2 capsules. As time goes on, the bacteria will start developing resistance. You get to a time. By the time you now need the real amoxicillin on the company, it won't be able to work. Then, in order to take care of the bacterial infection, then the prescriber will have to go higher. And the higher you go in all this thing, the more you become susceptible to the side effects of the drug. So until the regulatory agencies in Nigeria are up and doing, you will always have this quackery news. And I still don't even know how they want to go about it for now. Because as at the last time we were asking them, I was asked one person, which I this same thing you're asking me now. How are they going to do about it? What he told me was there is nothing they can do about it, that the government has licensed the people to be doing whatever they like. And I was like, we should, just like what you say, are we sure that they are not endangering people? That is one aspect of it. And the second aspect of it is the value chain. When you look at the value chain of drug prescribing, generally in this part of the world is extremely poor compared to what is applicable overseas. Here, somebody prescribes arbitrarily. Somebody will just over there now, before you can even prescribe an antibiotic for a person, you will have sent the person to the lab, they will have done the appropriate diagnosis, you will have done the MCS. Okay, which of these drugs is this bacteria sensitive to? Maybe like somebody that had liquid that you are saying, they will have done the MCS, knows which of the drug can actually work for the person and at what dose. But here, we discovered that people do a lot of assumption here. Maybe for adventure, you see patients A. Maybe when patient A came into your premises the last year, you treated him with ampicillin. And maybe for adventure, he gets well with ampicillin. If another person is coming in, they will prescribe the same ampicillin to that second person, forgetting the fact that they both have different genome. They both, because there are some things we even call idiosyncratic reactions. What about 2 different individuals presenting with the same ailment does not simply mean one drug, the same drug, cure the same ailment. What they ought to have done was send the person to the lab, do the MCS, when the result of the MCS, then you know the appropriate things to do.
Thanks for watching. Let us subscribe to our YouTube channel, God's Arm TV. Also, kindly help us to hit the bell notification in order to be notified as we'll be putting up some more videos on our YouTube channel. God bless you.
You've got the whole world in your hands. You've got the whole world in your hands. You've got the whole world in your hands. got the fish of the sea. In your hands, you've got the birds of the air.